Hi, everybody. My name is Jane Power, and I'd like to welcome you to The Called. I'm here with
Hey.
my old friend Larry Webb, and we have a guest today. Her name is Teresa
Krisky.
Krisky. Okay. I'm going to read you Teresa's bio. Okay. Teresa is an entrepreneur, a speaker, a teacher, a wellness professional, and a massage therapist, and now an author. Woohoo! Her passion is to help people to be the best they can be. Teresa left corporate America in 1993 to start her own massage therapy practice and wellness business. It was a very successful business until March 2020 when COVID-19 hit Connecticut. I hear you, sister. This gave her the opportunity to complete her book, From Stressed to Blessed. Love that name. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. I'm very
Welcome.
excited to be here.
All right. Oh, my God. So you had a problem with the COVID-19 too, huh? Yeah, my business has been,
Yeah.
quarter of it is just poof.
Well, and you go into companies to provide chair massage and nobody's there anymore.
Just the chairs.
Oh,
just
that's
the
right.
chairs.
That's right. Yeah, but you were a good girl, and you did what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to finish my book during that 10 weeks that I was closed, but I didn't. I did everything but my book. So congratulations
Thank you.
for pulling it all together.
Thank you. I started it probably 20 years ago, this book. And
See?
Yeah.
And did you?
It was like probably 2/3 done. I had to finish the last third.
Oh, my God.
And
I know.
then the editing process. Like
That's the worst part. It's the worst part. Like I finished my book like 2 years into it.
Yeah.
And it's been edited, I don't even know how many times. Well,
Yeah.
because you're supposed to hand it out to people, tell them to read it, give you feedback. And I don't know if that's a smart thing to do because, boy, oh boy, it just takes over.
Yeah.
It's not good enough. I'm not putting it out yet. I'm not putting it out. Wow. So you got it all to.
I did, and it was actually done on my birthday, August 14th. But
Wow.
then I actually did self-publishing, and when I got the first copy of it, I was like, oh no, there's a mistake there, there's a mistake there, there's a mistake there. And then I had some people read it. So it finally was done, I would say, beginning of October. So I did like a little pre-launch, and now I'm doing the launch on 11/11.
Awesome. Now, where are you launching it?
Facebook Live.
Really? Good
And
for
why,
you.
And why 11:11?
11/11, because
I know what 11/11 means.
it's the gateway. It's
Love
the
it.
gateway to opportunity. So I thought it'd be a great opportunity for me to get it out there and a great opportunity for anybody who's listening. And I'm doing the live Facebook at 1:11 on 11/11.
Perfect.
So I got the numbers on my side anyway.
So can you tell us a little about what your book is about?
Oh, yeah. So the name of my company is Total Balance Life Choice. And it wasn't even the original name of my company. But shortly into starting, I realized choice had to be a part of the name of my company because wellness is a choice. And so much of life is a choice. And if I want to help people be the best that they can be, they need to realize that it's a choice.
Right.
Every decision, every thought is a choice. So I changed the name of my company. And when I started doing chair massage, I realized, not everybody's coming to get a chair massage. Not everybody feels comfortable doing that.
Right.
So I started doing lunch and learns to help people reduce stress. And that would get a little bit, few more people. And then I said, I got to write a book. This way here, I think that's the last little thing that I could do to reach that many more people.
Right.
So I started it about 20 years ago, but then I finished it for COVID-19. And it's really about, I give a little bit of my story, and then I took the letters of my company, Total Balance Life Choice, and took words that are empowering words that have helped me grow. So under T, we've got tenacity. We've got, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of letters that start with words that start with T, and I described them, talked about how that word particular helped me, found different quotes that were empowering quotes. And then the last part of the page is a reflection, a personal reflection. Okay, where in your life are you tenacious? Where do you need to be tenacious? And just to help people go in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the book is. So I'm hoping that people love it. And, you know, it's a little kind of like handbook, I think. I see it as that.
Awesome. So are you
Very
gonna
cool.
try and do, go to the little independent bookstores?
Well, when they let us do that, yeah. But right now they're not.
They're not letting.
No.
What about Amazon? Will it be on Amazon?
Yes, it's on Amazon. Amazon Books. That's where it is right now. Or if you go to
Good.
my website, yeah.
Good.
Yep. And I've got some in my car, so if I see people, I just, if you want to buy a book. I'm so used to
It's funny. I got
That's what Wayne Dyer did.
I have a little box in my car
Yeah,
with
yeah,
books.
yeah.
Books
No, Larry usually has one in his pocket.
Yes,
Yes.
I saw that.
he'll,
And
pu-
I said-
he'll pull this wrinkled old book out of his pocket. Here you go.
Yeah, when I saw you do that, I'm like, okay, now I got to start carrying a pocketbook so I can, because mine's not that small.
just like boop, there it is. So
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And it was interesting because I read this book called The Book You've Always Wanted to Write or something like that. And it said, when you pick your title, you should send out a survey and see which going to catch people's eye. Now, this From Stressed to Blessed came from within me. It was just, that's the name of the book.
Yeah.
I did this survey and everybody wanted From Stressed to Blessed. None of the other titles worked for anybody. I said,
Really?
why do I question? Why do I
I know.
go out there and ask all these people when I was guided
Exactly.
it's supposed to be?
Exactly.
It was very funny.
it's funny you say that because it's like if I had ever read what I've read now since I wrote the book and I put it out, and then I started to read about writing a book.
Yeah.
I would have never written this book. It would never
Well, it's
happen.
intimidating when you read all that stuff.
The
It's like
title-
I don't think I'm cut out for that.
My title is, From This to Bliss at the end of it, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's just it. I've always known it, that, and the cover's going to look like this, and this is going to be like this. And if I had went back and someone told me that, I would have been like, oh, forget that. Scratch it all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting how that is, how that works.
Well, I won't tell you the name of my book because it's not done yet. But
We're not talking about her book yet.
I know, but I have to say,
Yeah.
one of the women that edited it for me, she didn't like the name. She's like, if I was on a train and that was the picture and that was the name of your book, she said I would hide it. And I'm like, really? So I was almost going to change it, and then I'm like, no, this is me.
Yeah.
This is I always felt that this was it, and it's going to be it.
Well, and that's what, that's what the whole, I personally think is, and that's part of what my book talks about, is what is yours? That's what we came here for.
Exactly.
Is to shine our light, and don't hide it. If that's yours, that's what you need to show.
Right.
And that's when it flows. Things flow. It just
It's
keeps.
your story, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There, you're aware of the Teaching of Abraham?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so she's having someone was in the audience and they were a writer, and they basically said, I wrote this book, stuff like that, and she goes, and then I decided after I wrote it that I'm going to go to like experts, like other people that write books, and talk to them.
Yeah,
and
all
stuff
the
like
little
that.
writing
And
workshops.
And Abraham's answer was, that's great, your book. And then you're going to go to other people to tell you how to.
But that's what all the books tell
Change
you.
it.
I have all those
Yeah.
books, how to write a book, how to do
Yeah.
this, how to do that, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. So.
don't get those books.
Yeah, right.
Don't get those books. You'll never write a book,
Yeah.
trust me.
Well, I actually did take some of the things out of the book. Like I said, I did the survey, and I'm like, well, that wasn't that. I knew. I guess what I learned from it is there are some things that we have a knowing about, and when we
Yeah.
have that knowing, that's not one of the things that we need to ask others about. It's
Right,
when we
right.
don't
Right.
know.
Right.
It's like. Thank you, Caleb, for being the technology person. Like, go to the people that know what they're doing and have them. Don't have me try to learn technology to do something.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to, the gentleman that I was with who died 15 years ago, he used to say to me, do what you do best and hire people to do everything.
Yeah,
else."
that's
Mm.
great advice.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
So where did your walk down this journey, basically? Because this podcast is really about your calling and stuff like that. I think so.
Yeah,
It,
I
think.
your calling. And so where did it begin for you? Where it started to like pull you in that direction?
very easily. It was 1990 or 91. I'm not sure which, but I had been in corporate America for 13 years, and I was doing what I did really well. I was in accounting and finance, and it came easy, and I was doing great. And then I went on this camping trip, and it took me 3 days to relax. And I was up at Acadian National Park.
Oh, I love Acadia.
And I'm like, there was an amphitheater there. I don't know if it's still there, but I'm laying on this bench looking up at the stars, and I said, oh, I should have gotten a massage before I came on this vacation. Then I would have been relaxed from the first moment. And the next thought was, you should become a massage therapist. And I had this sensation throughout my whole body, and I just sat up and I said, oh my God, I should be a massage therapist. And my boyfriend at the time was like,
Really?
I think you should be a massage therapist too. He said, I'll be your first client. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. Like, this is what I need to do. So we went back to New Haven, Connecticut, and the first thing I did was look up, okay, where can I be, how does this happen?
Right.
And there was one school, the Connecticut Center for Massage Therapy, and I went, checked it out, and that was in June. I started classes in January, and things just fell into place. Like when I decided to go to school, I'm like, where am I going to get the money for this? I'd gone for my MBA.
That's the way it happens.
My parents paid for my college. They weren't going to pay for me now to go to
Right.
massage school. So I said, okay, I'd gotten a notice about my 401k. I worked for SNET at the time. And they said, you could borrow against your 401k and pay yourself interest. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that. So that's how I got the money for massage school. And
Yeah.
then I started massage school in the first class. As a kid, I was a gymnast, and I was always a dancer. That's how I know Larry. And in the first class, the teacher said, massage is a dance around a massage table. And it is from the
So
first,
true.
from the first Olympics, they used to do massage as part of the Olympics. And I was just like, oh my God, this is like, from the first class, I knew I was where I was supposed to be.
Right.
And I went back to SNET, to my boss, and I said, I'm quitting. I can't do this anymore. I have to, because I was going to school from 6 to 10, Mondays through Thursdays, plus working full days, at
Yeah.
SNET. She's like, I think you better wait until you get your certification before you leave. So I waited, and then when I graduated, it was around the same time SNET was having their first layoff. And I was like, Now, I was working for Cellular at the time, and they weren't laying off. They were actually building.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, if I can get that severance package, I'll be happy to leave. And then you could save somebody who was in the wireline company.
Right.
They were like, have you thought about this? Well, I happened to have gone out for bunion surgery, and I had 8 weeks to think about it. I'm like, yeah, I thought about it.
Yeah.
So they got me, I left on January 7th of 1993, and they got me a severance package. So
Nice.
within 3 months of being out of work from SNET, I was making exactly what I was making at SNET doing massage. So things kept falling into place. Another thing that happened
Wait,
was,
you were doing massage at SNET?
no, when I left SNET and I was doing finance and all that other stuff,
Okay.
I left to do massage.
Okay.
And in 3 months of leaving, I was making as much money doing massage as I was.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Wow.
And one of the things that happened was, it was the coolest thing. So do you remember the Coliseum in New Haven?
Yeah.
So Channel 8 was doing...
Concerts. Yeah. Jim Koplik and Shelley Finkel. Yeah.
So Channel 8 was doing a health fair, and it was this big deal. And so I called them up. I said, look, can I do chair massage for your employees that are probably stressed out trying to get... They're like, we have no money to pay you to do that. I'm like, well, the employee can pay me. If they want it, they'll pay me $1 a minute.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's going to work out. And so she said, but if you want a booth at our health fair... I'm like, well, how much is a booth? She said, $3,000. I'm like, I can't afford $3,000. She says, well, you'll get a commercial. We do a commercial for you because it was Channel 8. I'm like, sorry, I can't do it, She says, well, why don't you send me your information? So I didn't even have a computer yet. So I went to my girlfriend's to send her an email. By the time I got back, there was a voicemail on my phone. And she said, we just had a cancellation of a booth. Do you want the booth for free? And I was like, oh my God, what do you mean for free? Like, tell me what you mean by free.
Yeah, really.
And she said, well, if you're going to charge, we ask that you give 10% to one of the nonprofits, but otherwise you can be there on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm like, oh my God. I said, well, how many people are you expecting? She said, 10,000 people. I was like, I got to get help. So I called my teacher, and he said, I'll be happy to come on Saturday and Sunday, but I can't come on Friday. I said, all right, I'll get somebody else to help me. So I show up there with my chair, and we put up some posters and stuff. And it turns out, first of all, we're next to the Clever Cleaver Brothers. Now, the Clever Cleaver Brothers were these two guys.
Did they sell knives?
No. They sold Angostura bitters and Angostura seasoning, and they were cooking. Now, where do people go when they're at an event? They always go to the food.
Right.
I'm right next to the food booth, right? I mean,
Yeah.
talk about being placed in an amazing spot.
Yeah.
So there was always people there. Well, on Friday, it was mostly schools and kids.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's okay. My girlfriend was there, and I was the only one doing chair massage. All of a sudden, this guy comes over, and I'm working on this teacher, and he's walking around me with this big camera and stuff, and I'm trying not to pay attention. I just need to focus on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So when he leaves, she says to me, my girlfriend says to me, so aren't you going to ask what that guy was doing? I'm like, yeah, what was he doing? She says, they're featuring you on the 12 o'clock news. I was like, what? What? She said, yeah, Mark Davis is going to come over and you're going to give him a chair massage. And I'm like, oh my God. So things like that just kept happening.
Yeah.
That showed me I was
That's the
doing
kind of
right
stuff
thing.
that happened to me too.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's just when you follow that voice, that
Yep.
calling, whatever you want
When
to
it's
call
all
it.
right, everything just lines up. The little steps to the pathway just show up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And my life is, and then when I don't follow,
Yeah,
stuff like,
when you think you know better.
yeah. So I'll tell you what happened to me was I started having, there were like convulsions. Like my whole body would just start shaking, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was like, okay, something's wrong with me. Something's really wrong with me. Go to the doctors. They're like, there's nothing wrong with you. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm having these episodes where my whole body shakes. So finally, my naturopath says, look it, just go home and journal. Meditate and journal with your non-dominant hand and see what comes through. So I'm like,
Really?
yeah. And so what came through was, be the minister you came here to be. And I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means, you know? So I said, well, you know what it must mean? It must mean, instead of talking about stress reduction, call it what it is. You want to talk to people about being authentic. You want to talk about people about shining their light and about being real.
Right.
So that's what I started calling it. And business started picking up, and I wasn't having these episodes anymore until one Saturday night. It was like the episode that would not stop. I was just shaking. My teeth were chattering. Everything was shaking. Everything was shaking. And I'm like, I don't know what's wrong. My husband's freaking out. He's like, should I take you to the hospital? I'm like, no, I don't want to go to the hospital. Anyway, the next day I went to church, and my minister said, sit down. He said, I think you're supposed to be a minister. I'm like, what? No, I'm crying. I'm like, no way, not me. He's like, why not? I'm like, I'm 55 years old. I can't start that now. And as soon as I just let it in, I had the same sensation I had when I decided to be a massage therapist, like the full body knowing, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And since then, my life has been unbelievable.
Really?
It's been, work really picked up for a while, but then COVID hit, and now I just trust. I have this opportunity to study right now, and I had an opportunity to finish my book, and things like this show up, you know, come and do this podcast.
Right.
It's like, okay.
Oh my God. So are you going to go to seminary school?
I am in seminary school.
You are?
Yeah.
School, yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah. It's called One Spirit out of New York City. And I was planning on going, but they closed down and it's all virtual now. So this weekend it's one weekend a month. There's 84 of us online. It's the coolest thing.
I need to get the information for my daughter because I've had a couple people say that Emily needs to do the same thing.
It's amazing. 'Cause
She's 27. She just got out of college.
it's what I love about it was I was going to go through Unity, which is what I call my spiritual home right now, and it's a philosophy, and it's Christian based.
Mm-hmm.
And then something happened with a family member of mine, and I was just like, I had such judgment. And it turned out what she was talking about was a spiritual philosophy of Buddhism that I was judging. And I said, okay, I need to get educated on other spiritual traditions. And that's what One Spirit is. Every month we study a different tradition.
Oh, cool.
It's fascinating. We studied Hinduism, Buddhism. This month is Judaism. And So we do a different one every month. And then next year, the second year, we do rituals from different.
Oh, that sounds cool.
I know. Very excited.
I got to get that info.
Okay.
Can't you picture
That's
Emily
awesome.
doing something like that?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. It's funny you said when you were saying about the fear of like going into a ministry or something like that. My father was a minister, and when I was since I looked like him, everybody used to say, "Oh, you can be just like your dad," and I'd be like this. I'm horrified. I'm like, what? I'm not gonna ever be like that. Just like I can't see that. It's like I remember being, going to church and being young, and I'd be like, oh, they're preaching all this stuff. Like, can't I just be bad for a while? Maybe pick it up at 29. I'll jump in. So it was always like that. And then you just realize one day that you're there. And if someone says to me, oh, you're like your dad, I'm like honored to ever be something close to my dad.
Yeah.
So it's just like, and the work that I do basically is right in line with that.
Absolutely.
It's like, why? And it's like, I would never change that for anything.
Right.
So it's funny that when you say that, I was getting that same feeling. It's like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So
It's funny too. My mom, she was this devout Catholic, and she would pray every day in the morning. She's on the couch with her prayer books and meditating and everything, and we'd all be like, "Oh God, look at her."
Did she have the
Yes,
beads?
the rosary beads.
rosary?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, guess what I do every morning?
You do the same
On
thing?
my chair. I don't do the rosary beads, but I have my prayers. I do my meditation every day. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And the more I do it, the more I'm led. Like I was telling Larry the other day, I was in the shower and the phone rang, and I'm like, that's a prayer call. So people call me for prayers. And the way we pray is affirmatively. We pray as if it's already done. We don't beseech for anything.
Okay.
And that's what a lot of the book is about too. It's like we change our thinking so that we are already in that place of knowing that
Right.
good is here now.
Right.
We just have to raise our vibration to see it and to experience it. So I get out of the shower, and I thought it was one person, but it wasn't. It was another person, and I was able to get back to him. But then the person I thought it was ended up calling anyway, and I'm like, I love this stuff. Like the connection, that oneness that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
That we're connected, and we can access it when we choose to.
Right.
When we, when we keep that consciousness clean, or that wire, whatever you want to call it, you stay open to it. So it's fascinating.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
it kind of flows like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
one thing I really need to start doing is meditating.
It took me a long time. I started when I was 18. Lasted 3 months. It was TM, Transcendental Meditation.
Oh, Jimmy knows that.
So you're supposed to do it 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the that was not happening for me at 18 years old. There was no way. I was too mellow. I was like, I got to party. This is mellowing me out too much.
Did you
But-
keep falling asleep? Because that's what I used to do.
Yeah, and then they wanted you to do it first thing in the morning, and I was like wide awake. There's no way I could meditate.
Yeah.
But I kept trying every couple of years. I kept trying, and then about 10 years ago, my minister said, "Start with 5 minutes. Don't start with 20 minutes." And that's what did it for me. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes. And
That's
then
it.
5 minutes grew to 10 minutes. Yeah, it's
Really?
amazing. Yeah, and now I don't miss a day. Sometimes I meditate twice a day. It's great.
There's
I gotta start.
Eshwan Eshwar is his name. So he's well known for meditating, and he was a great teacher of it, basically. And he went to his friend's house, and his friend has this whole library, and he's like, oh, you read this book on meditation here? He's like, no, I haven't read that one. He's like, oh boy, geez, how about this one here? And he's going through all these different books. He's like, and this is a great book on meditation. He goes, you teach meditation? And he goes, you haven't read any of these books on meditation? And he goes, I meditate. I don't have time to read all those books.
Right.
Yeah.
'Cause I
Well, that's
spend-
kind
I
of like one of
spend
the
it-
messages.
yeah.
Remember we got the message
Yeah.
about meditation?
Yeah, and that was like one of the things that made me open up to it, meditation, because I was like, just start.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how long, or to get all the numbers out of your head, and just start, and it just becomes more blissful the longer you are there.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like people think of meditation as, oh, it's going to be just so blissful all the time.
Well, they think
sometimes
they
it's
should
like-
get something out of it. It's something question answered or
But sometimes
lot
it's
of
not
people
even
feel
that. It's how was it described? Inside your washing machine, there's an agitator,
Mm.
and the reason why you have the agitator in there is it gets all the dirt out.
hmm
So sometimes the meditation is like, oh, that was like, woof. You don't think anything happened, and then down the road, I tell people this all the time. They just think I'm lost it, especially my younger clients. They're like, I say, if you meditate, your day will line up to whatever you meditated about. If you meditate, everything will line up because people are like, I don't have time to meditate. If you meditate, time will now follow you.
Well, do you go in there
Yeah.
with an intention? Like,
I just sit.
Esther Hicks would always say, you're going into your workshop, you should have the intention.
My intention is to sit and to get quiet and let it happen. Not even there's no thought on it at all. How long it will be. So each time is different. I don't know. I just stop when I stop.
He told
that
me that
make
he
sense?
meditated for a whole day once.
Wow. Yeah. There's something
Yeah.
called Vipassana. People meditate for 10 days in a row.
There are people in different countries and stuff like that
I think I
Who
would
go
drive
in-
myself crazy.
who've gone into caves and they just stay there.
Yeah.
And years go by and they're in there, and people have to go check on them and make sure that they're okay.
Yeah.
So
And what is
yeah.
the joy in that?
Well, when you think of it that way, there's people that are here on this planet here. They're here for a different reason.
Uh-huh.
They're here to teach or for a different reason than us. So their journey is they've come here to do that and to teach that. That's why they're here,
Mm-hmm.
and they do it for that reason. And that's what their purpose is. They have no other desire to do anything else. It's kind of. I mean, I would never think of sitting in a cave for 40 years. 40 years and meditate.
No, thanks.
But,
I can't even think about the 10-day. Like, it's like, oh, I'm not ready for that. I'm not called to that. But I may
Yeah.
be someday. I don't
yeah,
know.
so who knows? You know.
Could you see me sitting still for that long? Wow.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because sometimes what I'll do is like when I get anxious about not working right now, is like, okay, Spirit, what is the truth about this? Just what is the truth about this? And then I just get peace. Just chill out. You're okay. Don't worry about it. And not that anyone's saying that to me,
Mm-hmm.
but I just get that sense. I get that peace again.
Right.
Because all that outside stuff, even making a living, it's just sometimes distraction,
Yeah, definitely.
I had a good friend of mine ask me today. They said, "So, she's a good friend. She's a sweetheart." And she goes, "Can I ask you a question, Laia?" She goes, "So, and they haven't been working or anything like that." And I, you know that if you needed it, I have money. So, let me know. And I said, "Oh no, I'm fine." She goes, "How?" And I said, "That's a great question because." I said, if you think of it logically and mathematically from working and not working, I should be devastated. But everything's fine. And I was like, so I just stay with that. I don't think about it or worry about it, and just keeps going.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
It is.
how it happens.
It is.
How that shows up. So
Yeah,
you do
I
what
know.
you're supposed to do, I guess.
yeah. When you follow that guidance of who you are and what you came here to do, and there's not there's not an agenda. There's not an agenda behind it, or it's not willful. It's just trusting.
Yeah, trusting is the key word.
Yes,
Trust,
yes.
which I don't always do. As you
We
could
have
tell,
doubts, right?
we have doubts.
Yeah, yeah.
Like this whole election thing. I don't even know if I should bring this up,
You
but
should bring it because I was going to. So go ahead.
well, probably months ago, I got a message, a God message, basically saying that Joe Biden was going to win, and not to worry, that the COVID thing is going to all be taken care of. Everything's going to be okay eventually. And as we got closer to the election, I was just like, oh my God, if Joe Biden does not win, then what's going to happen? I'm not going to believe in God then, because God told me that Joe Biden was going to win, and if Donald Trump wins, oh my, and I was like, I could not watch any of the returns at all because I was so worried that I was going to have to, not believing that I was talking to God anymore. But Joe Biden won, thank God. So everything's good. Everything's good. But you would think by this time, I would but God kept saying, have faith, 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 faith.
Yes.
And,
Faith in, see, the thing is, what I think about too is I think we always have faith, but what do we have faith in? Do we have faith in that which we're afraid of, or do we have faith in love and truth and goodness?
mm-hmm.
And I want to lean towards the love and truth and goodness.
Exactly.
Because we make up our lives, right? We make up stuff all the time. So why not make up good stuff?
Exactly.
It's like you said, in my book, it's called Rejoice. You always have choice.
Yes.
And it's what you were saying before.
We always
that.
have choice. And even if we don't have choice in what we can do or what our options are, we always have choice on how we see it, how we're going to experience, what we think about it. We always have that choice.
Right.
We can always say, okay, I may not like this. There may be other things I like better, but there's something here for me to learn. There's something here for somebody to learn.
Exactly.
And move
What's
forward.
What's the lesson in this?
Yeah, and move forward from there. Yep.
Trust.
Especially when it looks,
Trust.
especially when it looks scary.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was having those very thoughts when I was sitting in the hospital, and they told me that I wasn't leaving the hospital for about two or 3 months. You're gonna be sitting here, and I was like, okay. I was like, geez, I've got like bills out there and car payment, and all this is gonna be happening while I'm sitting in the hospital.
Wow.
Building up, and I was just like that, and I was, your first thing is like you were going through with the election thing on devastation. I'm like, oh my God, I'm devastated. And when you let that go and you go back to meditating, you go back into there's something here for me, like you said, there's something here for me.
Right.
And all of a sudden you get this knowing where you're like, oh, I'm going to do this. Well, I'm going to just do this. And things will just line up. I'm not sure what's going to open up, but it's going to open up.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, I've got a book that's out. And all my time is spent now saying, okay, so you need to get this message out, and you need to be doing this. This is what you're supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
And don't be afraid of it, or just kind of go with it.
Yeah.
And speak your truth. So, yeah.
And learn technology.
Yep. But that calm just
That's going to be your job,
comes
Larry.
back.
You're learning the technology.
Yeah. That's why we have Caleb.
You
here,
have- you
by
have
the
more
way.
time.
Technology's over there.
Caleb, you got to sit down with us someday and really give us a step-by-step.
So,
Oh, my God.
Well, also, I think at some point we realize if we really think about it and we look back on our lives, we say, okay, well, I've been through a lot. As devastated as I was when Michael died, not only have I done it, I survived and I've thrived. And I
Right.
remember when I met my husband, and we met on December 28th, and by Valentine's Day I was ready to break up with him. He's like, not the right guy for me. I know it, and da-da-da-da. And he shows up with the exact same Valentine's Day gift that Michael, the guy who died, had given me on our first Valentine's Day.
Get out of here.
And so I'm like, okay, Michael, I don't know what you're trying to tell me, but I will not break up with him. And the next day I called my friend Hope, and I told her, and
Hope?
she said, yes. And she said, all right, we like Gabe. We think he's great for you.
Oh, I like that name, too.
Yeah. I have had a Michael and a Gabe, right? They talk about archangels.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And she said, you're not perfect. Nobody is perfect. She said, so I think you need to start looking at what's right about Gabe and stop looking at what's wrong. And as soon as I made that shift,
Yeah.
it's those kind of things that I talk about in my book, from stress to blessed. It's just a change of perspective. Stress comes from what we think about.
Right.
So,
Yeah, the monkey mind.
yes.
Yeah.
So if we stop thinking about those things that we're stressed about, we get to see all
that's
of the good things.
And that's back to the 111. Only think of what
That's-
we want,
That's right.
not what we don't want.
That's right.
because that's going to come to us too.
That's right.
Yeah.
Whatever we think about. So choose your thoughts wisely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's hard to do, but it can be done.
Yes. Takes practice. Like
Does take-
Powerful.
like
takes a lot of
meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
powerful. Yeah. Yeah. It's like one of my little dilemmas or things that I'm working on right now is this one. And it just rings true here. So people who are sober and sobriety and all that kind of stuff, right? They have this thing about counting how long they've done it. And I said, the more you keep counting, every day you're looking at what you don't want first. So it stays with you. And then when you relapse, it's because, well, you've been holding on to it all this time. Why would you even do that? Why do you, what's the magic in counting? And no one has an answer. And what I found out is the answer is always the same. Well, there's a group that does that, and they told me that I should be saying this. I said, so it's not you thinking about it, you're just following what you've heard.
Right.
And that is really it. But in truth, what you're just saying is 111, what you put your focus on is what's going to keep showing up.
That's right.
And your focus is every single day. It's day number 340, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? So it stays there. And that stays with you and always shows up.
So what's the best way to stay on track, though? I mean, I used to just tell myself to shut up all the time. It's like, all right, don't go down that road. Don't go down that road.
What would you say?
I would
before
say,
Yeah.
not once you say don't go down that road. What road do you want to go down? Because you have to fill you have to fill
Right.
the void with something that you want. Because you're gonna our brain wants to keep doing what it feels comfortable doing.
Right.
So you say stop, but you don't give it another alternative. It's just like if you want to stop drinking coffee, what are you going to replace the coffee with? If you're going to stop drinking alcohol, what are you going to replace the alcohol with?
So we always have to have a replacement then. Okay.
Yeah. And that's where you get to choose what
somewhere for the monkey mind to go.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause the monkey mind's going to keep going.
Oh, yeah.
It's like people that say, "Oh, meditation. I mean, you mean shut everything off?" You're never going to shut everything off.
Right.
That's an illusion that people have about meditation. It's like, oh, I'll just like go into, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's not
See,
quite
I
like
used,
that.
I used to get panic stricken when I'd be meditating. Everything would be nice and calm, and then a negative thought would come in. It'd be like, oh, what do you do with that?
You let it go where everything else goes.
Yeah.
Where every other thought goes, whether it's positive thought or negative thought, you let it go and wait for the next thing to come.
Or you focus on your breath.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can't
Yeah,
focus
you
on my
bring it
breath.
back.
If I do, I can't breathe, so I focus on something else. You know, that happens to me sometimes. If I start thinking about breathing, I can't breathe. So I start thinking about something else. What else can I think about? I'm going to win the lottery.
Like I cannot, that's the, that you say that, I can't concentrate on my breath to meditate. It doesn't, it stresses me out
Yeah,
to think about my breath, my
Yes.
breathing in and out. And,
Yeah.
Right, right,
because it's
So-
something we do so naturally.
right.
You
right.
start
So-
thinking about it, it's like, "Arr."
My meditation that I don't teach as much because people have a hard time with it is I get quiet. And when I get quiet enough, I start to hear my heartbeat.
Mm.
And once I hear my heartbeat, I start listening to that one little second in between the beats. And I get really comfortable there, and I just, whew, that's it. From some reason, that just works for me. That's that's my go-to. So
So we
but
all have to
everyone-
find our
everyone has-
go-to.
Everyone has
Basically.
something.
Right.
Everyone has something, you know.
Yeah.
I used to always think of like I used to see people outside in the morning running, and they'd be like, "Oh my god, that's gonna be horrible." But for some people, like they're like Forrest Gump, they can just keep going.
I
and
know.
going, and it's relaxing for them.
Yeah.
So it's.
I always say that's
yeah.
exactly what I don't want to do.
You know, but some
Yeah.
people just like find that that's their thing.
Right.
So and that's like meditation for them. I remember the scene in Forrest Gump when he's thinking about what's her name?
The blonde?
Yeah, this
Oh.
girl.
I don't remember.
Jenny.
Jenny.
Come on, how can you forget Jenny?
Yeah.
And she's saying, "Oh boy, I wish I was there." And he goes, "You were there," because he's gotten to that place where everything is wonderful, and he's seeing like the sky and the moon. I mean, the sky and the earth all coming together, and everything's there. It's just right at the right spot,
Yeah.
you know. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you were there." So it's that place that you go. So
I gotta go there. I gotta go. All righty. I'm glad I put my glasses on.
you got some glasses there. She's
I
got,
got-
yeah.
All right. So, what are some of the things the listeners can do to start on this journey? Did we answer that question?
They could buy my book or Larry's book,
Okay.
either one. They
Okay.
could go to the and it's my book isn't necessarily a book that you won't want to read from cover to cover. You certainly could. I have had one person say she read it cover to cover and then and highlighted where she wanted to go back to. But I really see it more as a book like, okay, I'm getting stressed out. Let me take a breath and just open up and see what's there. What is the wisdom that I'm going to be drawn to, or what wisdom is going to be drawn to me? And then use that.
Okay.
And then there's some reflection questions on the back if they want, at the end of the page, if they want to use that. Another thing is just stop and take a breath. Just stop and take a breath, and not meditate on a breath, but just take a breath, because when we take a breath, we go from fight or flight. Physiologically, our body will go from fight or flight to the relaxation response. When we're in fight or flight, when we're stressed out, whether we're sitting at a computer because we have too much to do, or we're sitting at a computer trying to do work and our kids are trying to do their schoolwork and our husband just got home and, who knows what's going on,
Right.
just take a breath and then take another breath and then say, okay, what is mine to do next? What can I do next? And really, because when we take that breath, we can get ourselves back to that place of thinking clearly rather than thinking from when we're stressed out. Because when we're stressed out and we're in fight or flight, our body is thinking about running or
Oh, yeah.
fighting or freezing. And our brain is not really working. All our blood is going to our legs and our arms. So if we breathe, our blood can now go back to our brain and we could start thinking better. So that's like the
Beautifully
easiest
done, yeah.
thing
Yeah.
to do is
Yeah.
to take a breath. And then maybe start meditating for 5 minutes a day. Picking up this book, picking up Larry's book. Larry's book's got some great tips in it.
Now, should you meditate like right when you get up in the morning, or
You could
have that cup of coffee and then meditate?
It's up to you. Whatever works for you. I usually get up, brush my teeth, go back to bed and meditate, sit and meditate. Sometimes I get up and do my prayer meditation. My prayers and then meditate. So, and sometimes no, I can't say that anymore. I used to just meditate in the afternoon, but now I meditate in the morning and then possibly again in the afternoon. But some people, like when I was younger
Mm-hmm.
and I would wake up so energized, there was no way I was going to meditate. So I would just wait until 3:00 and meditate.
I'd probably fall asleep if I waited till then.
I generally
But I'll
take,
try.
I always take the pause in the morning.
Yeah.
When I first get up.
When you
because
first get up.
a lot of people will get up and they'll pop the TV on
Oh.
and start their day. And to me, it's like the first meeting I'm going to have in the day is with myself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? With me.
That's a good way to
and
look at it.
I look at that meeting with me is also connecting with my higher power, my source.
Mm-hmm.
And I get quiet and I want to listen. So I may not be doing anything, and if it's one of those mornings where nothing's happening, I will put something on my screen. But what I put on there is it's either a satsang or something like that, or someone I want to listen to,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in my background. So as I'm doing my morning, I'm listening to something, and it just puts me in that same place. And if I can get an opportunity to go outside for a minute or so and sit when it's nice out, it's bliss. It's absolutely bliss.
I don't know how you find bliss sitting outside.
Oh,
Have you seen where he lives?
no.
He's got traffic coming this way, traffic
Oh.
coming that. He's on the corner of 81 and Route 1.
Yeah, and there's a.
I'll
and-
I'll pull up and Larry's sitting there like this when there's utter chaos going on going
Yeah.
on everywhere,
But
And-
that's it.
and he's meditating,
and the train tracks right there, so the train
Yeah,
goes by.
and he's like jiggling in his seat.
I mean, it's right there. It's not like far away. It's right there.
And now
So-
they're building a train station, so you're gonna. Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of noises, but you're good,
Yeah.
Larry.
Yeah, but that's so it's kind of interesting how that. So another little interesting little tidbit that I just remembered. when you said it a little earlier, that kind of threw me off. It's like you said that we met. You were dancing at the Chowder Pot. That's where we
I
met.
used to dance at the Chowder Pot.
That's where we met.
Oh
in
my
Fame Place,
gosh, that
dancing
is
at the Chowder
so
Pot.
funny.
Yeah.
I met him before
yeah.
he became the general manager.
Yeah, I was just bartending then.
During
Yeah.
my
Were you the
Yeah.
general
No,
manager?
I was bartending then.
Oh,
when
okay,
I met
yeah.
you too.
I would go in there with all my single friends, and
I'd only go in there by myself, actually. and
Would
meet
you
my-
really?
It was
Yeah.
the only bar I would ever go into by myself
Yeah.
because I knew him and I knew most people from Brantford.
That's it.
Oh my God!
And she was and her intention was to dance.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
let's go. And
Really?
You were the same way. It's like, I just want to dance. I was like, what? There's the floor.
Yeah. And I go up, give me
The
some, can I have
music.
some water?
Yeah.
Can I have some water?
So like she was running a marathon. Yeah, yep, water. There you go.
Oh
Get
my
back
God!
Out, get back out there.
I used to do aerobics on the dance floor
Yeah,
practically.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
just
yeah.
like I didn't care whether I was dancing with a guy. It was just like I just wanted to be out there
it.
dancing.
Me too.
Oh,
Oh, we were out
God.
there together, I'm sure, Jane. We
Oh,
had-
we
Probably.
probably
Yeah.
were. Oh my
Probably.
God! What a crazy place that was.
And the funny thing is, I never thought I would meet a guy in a bar. I met my husband at Chowder Pot. Isn't that funny? Listening to What Up Funk was playing.
My friend
Oh
who
my
helped
God,
me
yeah.
write my book, I
Yeah.
met him at the Chowder Pot too.
Oh, that's so funny.
I know. My brother met his wife at a lot of relationships started at the Chowder,
Chowder
Pot.
Pot.
I didn't meet Jimmy at the Chowder Pot. I met him at the Ivoryton Playhouse.
Did you really?
But
okay.
yeah. Yes, I've had a lot of relationships that started at a bar or. But what are you gonna do? That's the way we used to meet people back then.
That's
It's
right.
now it's the internet. So
Well, it's funny. It's funny how it all kind of comes around, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where I ran into you again.
At Joy's house. You were tending bar at the Christmas party. I was doing chair massage. That was the
That's
next time
right.
I saw you.
That's right. But just recently, something happened where I ran into you, and we decided that we were gonna talk about these books.
Oh yeah, I
And-
saw you with John on you were on
Yes.
Facebook.
Yes, and it was funny because I was like, when we were talking about the books, I was like, wow, these books are kind of similar.
It was really weird.
But that's a little strange. It's a little, even the title's not that far off.
I
was like,
know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Blitz, right? I was like, okay. So
Yeah.
it's just interesting how that all kind of works.
That's crazy. Oh my God. Okay, so how can people find you?
Oh, I'm so easy to find. As long as you know my name, Teresa Krisky, or the name of my company, Total Balance Life Choice. My website is www.totalbalancelifechoice. I've got
And that's all going to be on our website. Our
Okay.
website's almost ready to go up.
okay.
So it'll be all on there.
I have you can find the book at Amazon Books, From Stress to Bless by Teresa Krisky. And
Read it and give her what do they usually do? What do they tell you to do?
Oh,
Critique it
critique,
or
yes.
testimonial or
give it
something
a,
like that.
just give it a review. Yeah,
book review.
put it in a review.
See, there you go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
also thinking what I'd like to do. So I'm going to be doing like Facebook Live on 11/11 at 1:11, and then I'm going to be doing Facebook Live on Mondays and Thursdays at 1:11, using my book, talking from my book. But I'm also going to start these. I'm going to call them From Stress to Bless team parties, and I want people to. I'm
Wait,
hoping,
teen parties or
Team.
team? Okay.
TEAM. Team parties, because I'm hoping that people will get my book and then get their friends to come together and we'll do a Zoom call and we'll take a topic and we'll talk about it and we'll use the book. But I say team because the acronym team is Together Everyone Achieves More. So if you create a community or a group of people
Yeah.
that know what your dream is, know where you want help, you're going to be able to reach out to them and say, hey, I need some help, or pick up the book. And
Yeah.
the more energy we've got towards what we want versus what we don't want, the faster we're going to be able to manifest it.
Very cool. Now, how do you get onto Facebook Live? I mean, how does it differ from regular Facebook? Or is it just regular What?
I don't know.
So
Because I know I've seen people do things on Facebook, but is there a Facebook Live?
yes,
Oh, dear.
there is.
I better
There
find
is.
out. I'm doing this on Wednesday.
Oh, on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Oh. I can get you in touch with someone that's doing it. The only reason why I know this is because last week I just did it.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah, she's a friend of mine who's on Facebook.
Yeah.
Who's on Facebook Live. She does all these live things. She teaches it. Had me come on her show, and I was like, oh, okay. And boing, there I was. And I have the app now and everything. So,
Oh,
yeah, I'll turn you on to it. So,
okay.
yeah.
Because you know what,
yeah.
I'm thinking I've done recordings and then posted them, and I was
On
thinking,
on just regular Facebook.
Right, right.
So what happens in this scenario basically is...
Do you have a
from
bigger
what I
audience
understand-
maybe with Facebook Live?
Well, you kind of put it out that you're going to be on live at a certain time. And then when you go on live, everyone that's on your thing basically sees that you're on live.
Right.
And they can click on
And
and
see
you can see them as they come on.
Okay.
They send you a message saying, hey, I'm on, whatever. And you can talk to them live. So, yeah.
Oh wow.
Wow,
Yeah.
Larry, I'm proud of you.
I
Yeah.
just did one, but I guess for some reason the my picture came up sideways, so we're gonna redo it because I was sideways the entire time.
Oh dear.
We decided that we redo that one this week. So, but I just learned that exists. So yeah,
Okay.
Awesome.
we're learning.
Awesome.
We're learning all
We
this.
are.
Yeah, it's just unfolding for us. So,
Say a little prayer over my phone.
Yeah, really. I'll have to start following you.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so the final question is, where are you going to go from here?
I'm hoping my dream
Yes.
is that my book is a #1 bestseller in 3 years.
Woohoo! That's what I always said about mine. I want to be a New York Times best-selling author.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I'm creating some
Now,
classes.
why 3 years though?
I don't
Why
know.
not this year?
Well, they say we always overplan for 1 year and don't plan enough for 3 years. So
Yeah.
I just said, I'll go for the 3 years. I'll be happy in 3 years.
The
But
3-year plan.
yeah, yeah. So I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to be teaching some classes. I'm creating a class called 1212, and I'm going to be speaking. You know, I do a lot of speaking and at churches and at companies. I want to bring the book to corporations. That's where it was started from. So I want
Wow.
to get it there, get it back there. But we'll see.
Do you plan on doing any teaching, public speaking? Because that's what I really need to learn.
Yes, yes,
Really?
I do. Yes, I do it now. Well, before COVID, I mean, I've spoken. One of my best jobs was a company called Vineyard Vines. They're in Stanford.
Oh, yeah. My son-in-law loves Vineyard Vines.
Yes, and they had their corporate meeting. They had 400 people, and I was the opening speaker talking about mindfulness and meditation. It was such a rush. It was like the coolest thing. As a matter of fact, I wore this jacket, and I wore a white shirt and a black skirt. And they have you all hooked up, and they have monitors.
So
and
it's like a
big
little
screen.
TED Talk,
Oh,
huh?
it was unbelievable. It was like, oh my God, look at this, 400 people I'm talking in front of. It was great.
And you weren't petrified.
No,
Oh, my God.
it was so
I
exciting.
would have been having an anxiety attack.
It was
This,
so
this is
exciting.
about all I can handle right now, sitting in my basement, okay? Right
It was
now.
great.
But, you know, maybe in 3 years.
That's right.
Who knows?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome.
it's always funny that you think that there'd be everybody says that public speaking is one of the most fearful things there is,
Oh, to me, it definitely
right?
is.
And
Definitely.
if it's a topic that I am not familiar with, it's the most fearful thing. If it's something that has to do with me, forget it. I can, as you know, I can talk forever.
Yeah, you're
So,
good.
Yeah,
I
have to
just get a
actually
little.
shut it
I
off.
just get a little tongue tied. You know. It's getting better every day.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Interesting. So it's good.
Any other questions, Mr. Lawrence Webb?
I don't. My timer has gone off in my head.
Okay.
Let's say, and I'm sure Caleb agrees with me that it's been fantastic. And as you go down this journey, it's like that. We're gonna have to have you come back.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And, yeah.
I'd love it.
Yeah, and I have a couple other things for you, so
Okay.
that'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
Thank you for coming.
It was
Thank you.
fun.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Woohoo! The date is May 13th, 2019. I want to talk about how unimportant most of what goes on in a human's daily life is. Most is not contributing to the big picture in the human's life. It is just taking up space in one's life. You all make plans for how you would like your life to be. I want you to know that plans should be made to be changed, altered, or even scrapped. The big picture will happen in lieu of all the best laid plans and changes of plans. The road is littered with obstacles that are in a human's life as learning tools, not as negative things that happen to screw up one's life. Nothing is written in stone. Because of my gift of free will to all, there are many paths that will be taken to get to the end result. None are right or wrong. All are a necessary part of a human's life, experience, and a soul's growth. I want you to know that I understand the confusion that humans burden their lives with, but it is due to society and the pressures that it places on humans to be a certain way in order to be a success in life. Remember, there is no right or wrong, just many ways to try and many outcomes that will be looked at in different ways by each human that is encountering the situation. I tell you this because religion is the same way. As I said before, each human needs to break away from social norms of society and try to become their true selves, and know that it is okay to do so. Free will is exactly that. You are all different, yet all the same. My children must learn to cherish the differences between them and notice the kindness also. I want you all to be independent thinkers and respect the thoughts and actions of others, even if you don't understand them, because they are different from your own. This is being truly human and respecting the oneness that binds all of humanity together. I am trying to break down walls for all of you so that more time isn't wasted worrying about what others think of you. It is all about what you think of you. It is a world that humans have created that has caused the constant fighting between humans when one does not agree with another's beliefs. If you could acknowledge the belief of another without judgment, then you would have a better chance of getting to a place where the beliefs of another don't affect you in a negative way. It will just be their way and not affect your way. Individuality and oneness may seem to be at opposite ends of the spectrum, but with an open heart and mind, oneness and acceptance for one's individuality, this will bring peace to a human. Whereas the constant judgment that one human has towards others brings a life full of dissatisfaction, for a human never feels that they are good enough, because there is always an example of a human who seems to have it all. But I am here to tell you that it is just another illusion that a human must not buy into. Remember, you are actors, with a side you seldom show others. Therefore, a human is making a false assumption about another human. You are only in control of an all-knowing of yourself. No one else is equipped to judge another. No one, not even me, for I know you are all perfect, all of you.